Democrats? 18% turnout in this election, but 100% in this room. So thank you for all your commitment and passion to such a noble cause. People think the Democratic Party is not motivated in this election. They haven't been to the Broward DEC. Let me tell you, I'm Dave Aronberg. I'm born and raised in South Florida, in North Miami. I went to public schools. Mom was a public school teacher. Then went to Harvard Law School, and then went to work for a big law firm in Miami. Came back. After doing that, I decided that just wasn't for me. I wanted to do more, do public service work. So I worked for Bill Nelson to go after Holocaust asset restitution. Working for Holocaust survivors in the greatest consumer fraud in the history of the world. That's how I got my start fighting for consumers, standing up to insurance companies. From there, I went to the Attorney General's office, worked for Bob Butterworth, became an Assistant Attorney General, and then 8 years later, in the State Senate, I'm now running for Attorney General. But let me tell you, it's not the endorsements, and thank you to Congressman Deutsch for endorsing me, or the sheriffs. That's not what's going to matter. Let me tell you why I want to be Attorney General, and I'll keep it brief. It's because of a woman named Diana Smith. I don't know if you know the name, but this week I spoke about her in Panhandle. She was a woman who came to me in my office and pleaded with me to do something because she had been diagnosed with a rare strain of leukemia, and she promised her child, her 3-year-old, that she would never leave it. Unfortunately, the state Medicaid program did not have enough money to pay for all the costs for the transplant. So she and her family and her friends did fundraisers and fundraisers. She lives in Sunrise, and they did all these fundraisers, and they raised $120,000 to pay for her health care because the state Medicaid program couldn't deal with it all. And so then the federal government stepped in, and they offered her SSI for her child. She signed the paperwork, and then the state sent her a form saying, now you're getting SSI, you made too much money for the Medicaid program, your procedure is canceled. Now, I got involved and we worked it out, and finally, after cutting through so much red tape, we were able to get her procedure. That's not why I mentioned it. Why I mentioned it is this. When we all talk about why we want to be Attorney General, you think of Diana Smith. When there are so many problems and so many issues facing the state of Florida, why is the current Attorney General, instead of fighting to make sure people like Diana Smith have access to quality health care, he's suing the federal government to block access to quality health care? That's what happens when you elect an Attorney General who doesn't want to be there. Someone who cares more about his political career than protecting public safety and helping people. Ask yourself this: why doesn't the Medicaid program help a person like Diana Smith? We have $3 billion of fraud in our Medicaid program out of our $14 billion program. What if we did something about the $3 billion in fraud? You know who's in charge of that? The Attorney General, Bill McCullough. But that's not a priority of his. And so Diana Smith, who needed the Medicaid program, it was not there for her. Who needed the Attorney General to stand up for her, he instead was suing to block health care at the national level. So when people tell you that there's no difference between the parties, there is. When people tell you that the Attorney General's race is a down-ticket race that doesn't matter, it does. I'm sad to say this, that just yesterday, I bring this up because yesterday I got the news that Diana Smith passed away. She passed away because it was too late. We finally got a reverse and got her transplant, but her body didn't accept it. And I'm sorry to leave you on this down note, but every day when I campaign, and I know this has been a heated campaign, but we have to remember, we are Democrats. We are together. On August 25th, no matter what happens in this race, we will be united because the stakes are too high. We cannot allow another 4 years of Republican rule of the Attorney General's office. If you make me your nominee for Attorney General in August, Democrats, I will do what I've always done in my career, and I will beat the Republicans in the ballot box, in the legislature, and in November. My name is Dave Aronberg. Thank you for your time, Democrats.